Hello, my Teaserking family. So I am doing two videos today because I'm just noticing when I look at other videos, if I see 2 hours, I don't really want to watch 2 hours. However, I would, if it's Egon or Mark McGuire, I would watch like 30, 40 minutes. Like when I go work out on the bike, I can watch it. I'm on the bike for about 20 minutes and in the car, so I could listen if it's worth listening to. I think mine's worth listening to because I'm giving you stuff that nobody else understands. Gold, Austrian economics, and things. So let's try this. So I gave these sports one already, so this will just be economics. However, if you do have a sports question, please feel free. My last one had the breakdown of the Super Bowl, some NFL, and then the mock draft. My analysis on how stupid these teams are. Okay. Gold hit 28.15 on Friday. So we've been 25 and then it gets over and then it gets to 26. Gets pulled down a little, then gets to 27, then gets pulled down a little, then goes to 28. These are all derivatives that are pushing it. Again, this is basically a paper market, as we've explained. And the paper market is derivatives. It's not a free market, as we know. The fact it's 2,800 shows you the demand by BRICS countries because they want to get out of the dollar. I love how they try to make it sound like, well, they're trying to get because of Trump's tariffs. First of all, you can't tariff money. You can't tariff gold and silver. It's not an item you can tariff because it's money. You can tariff a car, you can tariff a TV set, things that are made in China. You can tariff, I don't know what you're going to tariff from Mexico, avocados. I hope not. And you can tariff things from Canada, which I don't know. Maybe they make cars. It's mostly stuff that are produced. And all it's going to do, it's going to cause, it's not going to cause inflation because inflation, again, is not prices going up. It's the amount of money being printed. We're not going to print more money because of tariffs. It has really nothing to do with more money, with inflation. Do prices go up? Yes. But not because of money printing. The prices are going up because you're adding cost to it. Now, not even sure if you can raise prices. When they did it in the 1929, the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act, that made, if we would export wheat, corn, all the stuff the farmers made to Europe, it made it more expensive, which in turn ruined the farmers because the people couldn't afford the price, which then killed the banks because they didn't get the revenue in from selling the crops, so they couldn't pay the banks. So it was a huge mistake, the Tariff Act. I believe it was, I don't know, there was no war yet. It was 1930. World War II hadn't started. It's a way of generating taxes, which the whole theory is wrong, be taxes. The government should be a company like General Motors and Ford. They should sell a product and make revenue, and then they can go tax it. We don't need anything the government gives us except for get out of our way. We need free trade. We need no taxes or very low, which can be sales taxes, not income tax. I love how you pay tax on income. You pay the 1099s or, inheritance tax or you're smart enough to invest and make money, and they want to take it. You hit the lottery, they're there with their hand out. What is that? That's a bunch of bullshit. Um, so you're smart enough to make money on a stock, and they want to capital gains tax. It's so corrupt. And then what do they do with the money? I mean, that's the problem, is what do they do with the money? It's all corrupt. Anyway, this is the problem. So gold is the answer. The BRICS countries know this. Trump, I think, knows this. I showed you the video I was watching also this morning where the ladies, we don't know who she is, from England is saying they're shipping the gold from London to the US. And as we talked about it yesterday, we believe it's because of London needing, the UK needing money because they're broke, and the US needing gold to pay off the derivatives, the paper gold, because you've got to pay it with physical gold. So when they take delivery of these options and derivatives in the paper market, China says, I want the gold. You have to give them the gold because now Basel III, and it's a tier 1 asset, says you've got to pay them. We don't have gold because the Ponzi scheme we're running with gold and silver and the derivatives never included physical gold. It was always, we'll just make it up. They sell more silver than exists in the world on COMEX. All right. And I love when they say 1,000,000 ounces. I did a thing. I think I have it in I have it in some notes where, like, 32,000 ounces are a ton. So it's not a lot to get to 1,000,000. I think it's like 20 tons or something, which is nothing. Anyway, that's how much we're getting in 400 tons of gold from London, which is nothing. China's got 60,000 tons. Russia's got 20,000 tons. Putin in his swimming pool. He's got a golden train. He does understand gold. Okay. You can't print it. You can't counterfeit it. It's only what's out of the earth, but the price is not right. The price is fixed. We know that. We know physical is worth 10 times what the paper is because they keep devaluing the paper. They keep printing it and flooding the gold with the paper gold. And that's a very big that understanding you must make is the paper gold versus the physical gold. You must understand that the gold is paper, it's not a physical price. Yet nobody understands that. What do? They say, well, gold never goes anywhere. Do you know that's paper gold you're talking about? Or do you think it's physical gold? And I would gather that 99% of the people stuck in the matrix here believe it's physical gold. And we know it's paper gold. It's the derivatives JP Morgan uses to keep the price down. At this point, I'm not quite sure why they're keeping the price down. It's like the movie Kelly's Heroes when they're going to the bank for the 14,000 bars of gold, and Kelly says, "Ring the bell," and the guy's ringing the bell, and then the tanks can come into town, and then Rickles in the middle goes, "I think you can stop that. I think they know we're here." In other words, stop ringing the bell. They know we're here, and it's the same thing. Stop with the derivatives. It's already worthless. There's no point in having the derivatives. They were to keep the price down. The price just hit 2,800, and we need a higher price because all we're doing is letting China and Russia buy our gold cheap. So if you really understand what we're doing, these are like probably the dumbest people I've ever seen. Now, I have an ounce of gold. There's no way I'm giving it up for 2,800 paper dollars. I would never sell an ounce of gold for 2,800 of these. Never in my wildest dreams would I sell it, because the $2,800 are worthless. The value is going down. The gold value was 2,600, 2,700, 2,800. Why would I sell my gold for dollars? Stupidest thing I would ever see. But how many people understand that the $2,800 price is a paper price being pushed down by derivatives, not by the market? Nobody is selling gold. Nobody profit takes. Nobody, I don't know, what's the other thing they say? They're like combining their portfolio, whatever. They're consolidating it. Nobody in the right mind is doing that. Again, the last thing you want to do is get out of physical gold for paper. I'll get out of physical gold to buy a house, to buy a car, but not for paper, unless I need paper to pay a bill. So something happens and you need the money. You know, you need $3,000 in paper fiat bullshit money that's worth nothing. And what I would do then is then I would sell an ounce of gold because I need the money to pay a bill that's due now. And I take it and I pay the bill. That's it. I don't want to be I don't want to sell 10 ounces of gold, get $28,000 and put it in my safe. That is not happening. You're trying to get off the Titanic and out of paper. So why would you diversify by buying stocks, bonds, real estate trust, or having your money in an annuity in a bank, or dealing anything with the bank? Those are the Ponzi schemers. And so you've got to understand that and keep that. So now they're making a big thing that London has no more gold. Well, guess what? China owns it anyway. London's broke. Who gives a fuck? Now it's in the U.S. Is it staying there? Probably not. It's probably going to Russia and China because we owe them for the derivatives. We owe them physical. Okay. So with that said, that's what's going on with gold. Economics is about supply and demand from the standpoint it's got to be free market. It can't be government involvement, as in these derivatives. And you're really trying to gather, if there's more demand than 50 for this card, the price will go up after 50. Just like the football game, the Super Bowl. People are buying the ticket, then it goes on the secondary market, and people who really want to go will pay more than the face value because there's more demand than there are tickets. Is there more demand for gold and silver than there is gold and silver? Physically, yes. Derivatively, no, because they're flooding the market with bullshit derivatives that they're leveraging it, selling, 100. There's 200,000 tons of gold, but in the derivative market, they sell maybe 700,000 tons of gold. Well, there isn't 700,000 tons. How are you doing this? It's just a Ponzi scheme. Understand that. But the physical gold's not a Ponzi scheme. People who want gold, who want bars, are buying it dirt cheap. If you understand the game, it's dirt cheap. It's worth far more than the 2,800. But how many people actually understand the game? Which is going to take me to my game. So yesterday I thought about a game I created while doing my class. And this game is we'll just call it a video game. And it's like any video game. There's good guys and there's bad guys. The goal of the game is to get rid of fiat currency and buy gold. And you got bad guys like financial planners, bankers, government people. Those are the evil guys in this game. So the game starts, you've got, and you're looking for me. So you're playing a game and you're looking for the professor who's going to guide you out of the game. I'm so fascinated that I created this. I can't believe it. So you're looking, you can't find a way out. You have, let's call it $1 million. And as the hourglass is turned over and the glass is running down, so it's a little, as time's running out, you can't get out of where you are. Let's say you're in a cave or you're in a cell, or let's call it a cave. It's more interesting. So it's like you're in the cave of the undying in the Lord of the Rings. So you're trying to escape with your $1 million, but you need the professor to get out. So you're going around and you got your money, and here come the bad guys, the financial planners, the stockbrokers, the financial advisors. These are the bad guys because they tell you to stay in the money, stay in the money. Then you got your JP Morgans and your Jamie Dimons and your bankers. Oh, buy stocks, stay in the bank. We'll give you a real estate trust at 5%, like the Attack on Wall Street guy who lost 60,000. Put your money in stocks. Buy Apple. Buy IBM. Buy these stocks. That'll make your money grow. And as you're playing the game, your money is losing value. It's now you've got 900,000. Let's say every half hour you lose another 100,000, and you don't know what to do because, well, okay, wait, I put my money in the bank and it dropped in value. I bought stocks, it dropped in value. And then you see a sign or something, I don't know what we'll have to figure out. Ask the professor. In other words, like the Wizard of Oz, you're trying to ask the wizard. You got to go see the wizard. He'll help you out. So there'll be not Munchkin characters, maybe hobbits telling you, well, you got to go see the professor, or like the White Wizard, right? You got to go talk to Gandalf. You got to come to the professor. He'll get you out of this game. So you're fighting these guys. You're going, wait, I had a real estate trust for 60,000. It's not worthless. I had stocks, but the stock market dropped. Now I got $700,000. I tried stocks. I'll put my money in the bank. It'll be safe there. Oh, wait, it's only worth 600,000 now. And you're looking for the professor. So how do I exit? How do I win the game? And how do I get out of this dungeon area, be it, or some prison that you're trapped in? You're trapped in a prison now, but you don't know it, i.e. the Matrix, where you don't know that you're in a prison, but you think you're free, and you've got $1 million, but then when you try to use it, you can't buy what you used to buy for the million. You can only buy 500,000 with the money. So you're slowly, $1 million is slowly eroding. Well, I've tried stocks. I've listened to the financial planners. I'm in stocks. I'm in bonds. I go to real estate, but I stay in paper, and I keep losing value. And I keep the money in the bank. I won't even play a risk. I'll just keep the money in the bank, and the money keeps losing value because the evil government keeps printing it. So you got JP Morgan over here printing the money and printing and printing and printing, and your money's losing value, which you don't even realize. And then you go to this grocery store to buy food to eat, and it's more expensive. Oh, they're raising the prices. No, they're not. The dollar is losing its value, but you don't even understand that. You think that the dollar is not losing its value. You think prices are going up. So now you're really desperately looking for the professor. because you're going, well, shit, my money's not what it used to be. I can't buy what I used to buy. If I'm in stocks, the market's dropping. If I'm in the bank, it seems safe, but the value of my dollars keeps going because JP Morgan, Sauron, keeps printing the money down, and all the orcs, all the financial people, keep pushing it, keep selling you stocks and bonds in the bank. So you don't understand anything of what's going on. You're totally like, why is my money only worth 500,000? And not only that, why does my 500,000 not buy what it used to buy? So you're hunting for me and hunting for me and hunting for me. And you finally find me, not in a palace, but just in a average little house in the fields. And there's the professor. And you go, Professor, I finally found you. I need help. I need to get out of the game. I'm losing. My money's losing value. Please help me. And being the professor that I am, I help you because that's what this is. This class is helping you, right? How do I rescue the people who are caught in the Matrix, in the Lord of the Rings? And here's the Sauron, JP Morgan, killing your value. So I sit there and I go, well, you got to get out of their whole game. You buy gold and silver, but you got to buy physical. If you buy physical, you'll win the game. If you don't, if you buy paper, ETFs, or stocks, you're going to lose. So you're going, how does that work? But gold's still, the derivatives keep it down. It's not really worth a lot. And, I don't know, well, why? And then you explain, well, the system that the orcs are using is paper. They're doing derivatives. Sauron is derivating gold, keeping the price down. So you think that gold is not the out. So it's being hidden from you. Hi, David. How are you today? So you find me, I give you the answer to win the game or to get out alive is gold and silver. And you go, but why? It doesn't move. I go, because it's being suppressed by Sauron. He's keeping that price down by printing derivatives, which keeps it down. And they want you in these other areas. All the evil want you in stocks and bonds and in the bank and in everything but gold and silver. Because Sauron wants to control you. He doesn't want you free. It's the Matrix, it's whatever, where you don't even know you're being screwed. And so then you follow what I say and you go and you start emptying your bank and selling your stocks and getting out of your real estate trust, getting out of your bonds, pulling the money from the bank, and you go and you buy the gold. And all of a sudden your value goes from 500,000 back to $1 million. You then gold starts going up and you end up surviving the game before your money goes to zero, which is what would happen in the game if you don't get it out of the stocks, the banks, the mutual funds, the bonds, all the paper products where the bad guys, the banks, the financial advisors and JP Morgan are fucking you over by continuously printing the money, making it worth less. So the only way you can win the game is you pull out of your money, you will buy gold and silvers, $500,000 worth. And all of a sudden the gold and silver goes from 1,700 to 2,000 to 2,500 to 2,800 now. And now your million went down to 500,000 is now back to $1 million. And you have no risk. Sauron cannot do anything to you. It's let's call them the income, the Aragon teams and the leg of the elves and the dwarfs and the men are coming from what's Russia and China from the south? They are coming to rescue us, and they're buying up the gold, and they're keeping Sauron away from the paper. And now the gold price is going up because they've seen it and they're buying the gold, and they'll protect us. And then that's how you win the game, is you get out because you've turned your paper into gold because you don't even realize that the paper's fucked. David, what you think of artificial intelligence? Let me finish the game and then we'll go into that. I'll answer it in 1 second. So that's what's happening. Nobody is aware they're playing the game. Nobody's aware that Sauron, as JP Morgan, is printing the money to zero and fucking around with the gold with the derivatives and putting you into the financial planners or putting you in the stocks and bonds because that's where they draw their commission from. And nobody will put you in gold until you talk to the professor. I am your out. I am how you survive. And that is the game. You win the game by buying the gold. And once you buy the gold, the sun is shining and you're able to do everything and you're free. And Sauron can't touch you because he can't touch gold. JP Morgan and the banks. And that's how you win. The government can't touch you with gold because they don't even know you have it. And then now you win. Now the sun's out, you can do what you want, you're free, and you have the gold, and that's how you win the game. I thought of that yesterday, and I said, this is fascinating because it's exactly what's happening. So it's not even a game, it's real, but I'm putting it into a game is the only way to really do it. So I hope you enjoy that. Questions, comments, please let me know. David, what do you think of artificial intelligence? I'm really worried about it. I think it's part of a scam. If you think about it at your job, they're trying to replace you with robots or programs that are artificially intelligent. I don't think it works. I think it works on manual small tasks, but I don't think it works. Could it think of gold? I doubt it. Football games, I doubt it. You could kind of program it in, but it's that gut instinct that it can't do. So it could go to aisle 7 and pull a TV set and take it to the counter. But I don't know the severity, how strong it can be. Personally, I don't like it. I don't see any value in it except replacing me. So why would I want that? I was watching Total Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and the cab driver is AI, and he's driving him there. And he says, "Why? How did I get in? How am I in the car?" He says, "Well, the door opened, you went in." I mean, that's the sense of AI to me. They're not. It's like digital currency. It's like Bitcoin. Bitcoin's not real. Digital currency is not real. The Johnny Cab with the AI driver, I would be afraid that I can't ask him questions. Does he know where we're going? I hear Tesla's trying to come out, Musk, with driverless cars. I would never get into a car driverless. Now, it's one thing getting into a train or a subway when you're on a track. I would never get into an airplane that didn't have a pilot. And I would never get into a taxi that didn't have a driver. What are you going to say? Take me to 4th and Elm, and they're just going to take you to 4th and Elm? Are they going to stop at lights? What if a pedestrian runs in front of them? I don't think it can work, and I certainly do not trust that. I trust solid money that I hold, and I trust this that I hold. I don't trust anything digital, and I'm certainly not going to get into a cab or an Uber that does not have a driver. That's not going to happen. Or a plane that doesn't have a pilot. So there's certain things I don't think you can replace. I think you can have a robot in the back room of Amazon that says, go to C17 and pull something. And that's going to get you that item and take it out. How are you going to ship it out? how is it going to box it? And then how is it going to write the address on it or print the address out? And then how is it going to put it on the delivery truck to deliver it to my house? And then you got to have a driver drop it off. You can't. What are you going to have, a robot come out and drop it at my door? I don't like that. It seems like they're trying to get away from humans, which bothers me, obviously. And I don't trust anything that is like that. I work in finance. I do budgets and spreadsheets. I don't, could it design one? Maybe, but you've got to give it the direct orders. And I really don't. Could it analyze to buy gold? Is it going to do these derivatives? That's what an algorithm does, right? They just lower the price of gold for no reason. They don't even understand it. So they're fucking up free markets. And that's what bothers me the most. If you have a world of AI robots at your job, how are they going to shop? So there won't be an economy because they won't go to Target or Kroger's and buy anything because they don't need anything. You don't have to pay them, but you need a programmer to pay them. I'm not in favor of it. I think it's more like Terminator, where all of a sudden they turn on you and don't want to be controlled, and then there's a war. I could see that happening before I see them helping. So I'm not in favor of AI. I'm not in favor of anything digital. I think that crosses the line of what is useful. I don't mind a TV or a cell phone, although they are monitoring our cell phone use. This is what's so funny about CBDCs. Oh, they'll control us. Well, yeah, they're probably controlling us on our phones anyway. They know every call we make. They know if I'm texting Daria what I'm talking about. But they can't track 360 million people in the US. So it's unless you say the wrong word or do something, they have your info, but they don't look at it until there's a problem. So if you all of a sudden commit crimes, then they'll go, oh, let's look at your phone, and then they'll see stuff after. But I don't like any of that. I think the problem with crime is money, in the fact that you're inflating the money, so you're making it worth less. So now people need to rob in order to get enough money to eat because you're fucking the money supply up. And that's a big concern. Now, could AI fix that? No, because I guarantee you they would never program AI to stop printing money or to tell you to buy gold. Would you have an AI financial advisor and you think he's going to say, Professor, you probably want to buy gold? No, he's going to be programmed to say, well, buy Amazon and buy Apple. You really want to listen to a computer telling you how to invest your money? I don't think so. Is he going to give you, I explained it all, I just explained the Super Bowl in the other video. Is he going to be able to do that? I hear AI on some of these, they sound like idiots and they can't pronounce the words properly. It's a lot of mispronunciation. It'll be, a color, and he'll pronounce it a color, or he'll pronounce it different than you meant to say it. So I'm kind of against AI. If I answered your question, David, it's not really. I think it's a trust issue with me. It would be like trusting an airplane without a pilot, a digital an AI pilot. I'd never get on the plane. You need the human element. Now, are all human elements good? No. Are there some that commit crimes? Yes. But okay, but you can use your instinct to see, this guy's okay, that guy's okay, this guy I'm going to stay away from. And, I see that problem. But I don't think AI is the answer. I think it's involved with the CBDCs. They want AIs to be able to track everything, so it's quicker than people. or maybe they don't want people to warn people or tell people, so they just want AI involved with it. I think that's the real point of the AI. It's not good. It's a bad thing. So there's my answer for that. Um, I'm looking at my notes on the Fed. How does it work and what it does? So I came across this. This is May 26, 1993. I graduated in 95. Three promises that the Fed was supposed to do. The Fed was created by the banks to bail them out from their stupid decisions that they made. And the banks would lose money because they would loan money. Again, the way the bank works, they take deposits, loan the money, and take the deposits to loan the money out. So, like when they tried with the farmers and the tariffs, they didn't get their money back. They went under. They needed the Fed to bail them out, which is the point of the Fed, 1913. So, three promises. One, overcome the trade cycle, increase the money supply. Two, stabilize the value of the dollar. The dollar is worth 11 cents in 1993. So it's worth 1 cent now, but in 1993, the dollar's worth 11 cents. So after completing this day on 5/26, I go and buy gold as quick because well, this is back to the game. You don't know that the dollar's worth 11 cents because Sauron's not telling you, and all the orcs, financial advisors and planners, and all the banks and all the government is not telling you it's worth 11 cents. You think $100 worth $100. So the dollar at that point was worth 11 cents in 1993. It's supposed to prevent bank failures, more bank failures than ever with the Fed. So what did the Fed do? Nothing. It didn't overcome the trade cycle. They just increased the money supply. They didn't stabilize the dollar. It was worth 11 cents. And they didn't prevent bank failures. So why do we have the Fed? It's a corrupt, it's Sauron. It's very corrupt. It prints money and pockets it. Right now, it's keeping the stock market high. The stock market's pure bullshit. It is not anywhere near the value, just like gold is worth much more than it looks like and everything else. Hey, Pedro. Kansas City will win. That's what I say. I don't know if they'll win it in a crazy comeback, but I got them winning 30-27. I just find, is it that much scripted? No, I mean, it's Mahomes being Mahomes. Is every game scripted? I don't think so. I think great players make great plays and win games. Joe Montana beating Cincinnati with a late touchdown. Was that scripted? No, but it's Joe Montana. Joe Montana drove him down and won the game because that's what Joe Montana does, and that's what Mahomes is going to do. I think if there was any Super Bowl that was scripted, I would say when Philly beat New England with that I can't remember the quarter, Nick Foles. That I could say is scripted because at the end, Brady's about to take him down to win the game, and he throws an interception for a touchdown. Okay, that was purely scripted. Why would Brady throw the interception for a pick six? So that I could see was scripted, but I don't see it being scripted. I think it'll be a good game, but I don't think you need a script for it. I think the Ice Bowl was just a good comeback by Green Bay. I don't think that was scripted. So I don't think every time there's a come from behind or something, it's scripted. It's not the WWF as much as people want it to believe that. I do believe Kelsey will marry that girl, but that's regardless win, lose, or draw at the 50-yard line. That's just TV. They probably paid them. He probably is going to marry her, and they probably said, well, why don't we do it after the Super Bowl? We'll pay you $50 million, and we'll see it. Like anybody cares and is going to watch that. I'm not going to tune in for that. I mean, that'll be after, but that's just to me, that's scripted. The wedding proposal. Be a man, guy. Just take her to Hawaii and go on the beach and give her the diamond there or whatever she's going to wear. That would be my point. Do you remember there was New England winning the Super Bowl in a comeback? Uh, well, didn't they do that against Seattle? They came back to win, and then they held them at the 1 yard line. That was a comeback by New England. Yeah. So yeah, there definitely was. Um, I don't remember. All I remember about New England is they won a bunch of Super Bowls by 3 points, 4 points. They beat Carolina by 3. They beat Philadelphia by 3. They never blew anybody out. It was always if they needed it, Brady would do it. And well, they did come back against Atlanta, didn't they? That wasn't scripted, but that was Mike Shanahan having his head up his ass by not controlling. He didn't control the game anymore. So when you got a 28-3 lead or something, 24-3, whatever it was, he stopped controlling the game. The defense stopped playing. He let Brady do what he wanted, but then on offense, he kept passing the ball. So was that scripted? No, but Shanahan did have his head up his ass like he did twice with Frisco, having Kansas City with 10-point leads and losing those games, which he shouldn't have lost. But yeah, they definitely had some comeback. The Seattle game and the Atlanta game, of course, those were comebacks. Tampa came back against Green Bay to win that playoff game, and then I don't remember if it was a comeback against KC or not, but Tampa did beat KC. But KC put Tampa put a lot of pressure on them. But yeah, sure, there's always comebacks, but it's not scripted. Even the WWE, you knew Hogan would win, and he'd win with the leg drop. Or when Hogan fought The Rock and The Rock won, I would guarantee you that was The Rock's going to win. But Hogan was much older. But Hogan in his heyday, I mean, you knew it was like Hogan's going to win the match. And that's it. Well, look at the Montreal Screwjob with Bret the Hitman Hart. That was not scripted. That was like, we need whatchamacallit to beat the Bret Hart, because he can't take the belt with him to NWO, so he had to drop it there. And then as soon as whatchamacallit had him in the hole, they just, okay, that's it. That really wasn't scripted, because if it was, he would have padded out, and he didn't. So it wasn't scripted. It was forced. Okay, we're going to let, what's his name? I can't think of the guy's name, beat Hart, Shawn Michaels. That was not scripted, in the fact that it was Shawn Michaels. We want him to win. And Hart says, no, I'm not going to let it. I'm not going to lose to him in Montreal. Now, why did they have it in Montreal in the first place? That was kind of stupid, but the whole thing, so where wrestling is scripted, I don't believe professional sports is scripted from, okay, Kansas City's going to win the Super Bowl. I don't buy that for a minute. I do not buy that scripted. And I think you just have Mahomes being Mahomes and Barkley being Barkley and Jalen Carter being Jalen. You think Jalen Carter is just going to lay down and let Mahomes beat him? I don't think so. So I'm not buying that. Anyway, so the Fed was supposed to do 3 things. It didn't do any of them, and yet they still have it. None of the promises worked. Let's see. Fed is the government's bank. The FOMC, the Federal Open Market Committee, determines what the Fed will do. Talk about something being fixed, then that would be fixed. I don't really want to get too much into the Fed, just that they don't do anything. The Fed buys bonds. Reserves go up, Fed funds go down. The Fed sells bonds. Reserve goes down, the Fed funds go up. Monetary policy is set by the Fed, the discount rate. Discounting is a relationship the Fed and a member bank, JP Morgan, Fed will help a member bank that's in trouble, except they didn't help Lehman Brothers. The bank borrows money by selling assets to the Fed. What assets do a bank have? The stocks or the loans? The discount rate about 3%. The bank sells $100 to the Fed for $98. Fed just credits the account. Fed creates bank reserves. So why am I reading this? Well, to show you what's happening. Let's see. And my favorite, the inflation, what it does, what it affects are. Now, this is all Austrian economics, just so Bill Holler understands what the fuck Austrian economics is, because he doesn't seem to get it. And he shouldn't talk about it if he doesn't know. Keynesian doesn't work, it's been proven. That's communism. That's government controlling everything. Austrian is the market controlling everything. The free market, we control it. So inflation, the definition, it's an increase in the money supply is the cause of inflation, period. That's it. You print money, it's worth less. That's inflation. The effects are it decreases the purchasing power of the money, or the money's worth less. And the increase in the general price level is an effect of the inflation, not the inflation. So it basically takes more dollars to buy your Mahomes card or to buy your whiskey. This is because they printed money and they need more money to buy the same bottle because they haven't raised prices on it. You need more money to buy it. So this has gone from 60 to 70 because now we need $70 to get what we were getting with the $60 because we need money. That's what inflation is. That's the cause and the two effects. Yet, amazingly, people don't understand. They go to the increase in the price as inflation and look if prices coming down, inflation's coming down. Increase in the money supply is the cause of inflation. How does inflation ever go down? How do you decrease the money supply? And there's only one way, and that's burning it. Once you printed the money, it's the genie out of the bottle. It's gone. Once you've done that, you've done it. So as my game dictated, Sauron and the financial planners and the banks and the stock market are all the evil guys. And they're trying to get you to use your money for that. They never tell you to get out of money until you meet the professor in my little house in the woods that I tell you, no, my son, you must buy gold. Gold is the only answer to increase in the money supply because gold cannot be increased in the money supply. You cannot increase the supply of gold. You can dig up a little out of the ground, but not that much. And so as long as the gold can't increase in supply enough, it'll always hold its value, which is why it's the lifeboat. That's exactly what I keep preaching. And you got to understand, which I think my class understands it. But when I'm in the hot tub or the sauna or at work, it goes right over everybody's head. They don't get increase in the money supply. They think it's cost. And then when the costs start coming down, they think, oh, inflation's coming down. I'll keep my money in stock. As Luke's friend with the $4 million thinks, well, I got $4 million, I'll be able to buy food until the dollars are worthless because you've increased the money supply so much that it's decreased the purchasing power where the purchasing power is zero, where it takes a wheelbarrow to buy bread. And we've seen that in Germany. We've seen it in Zimbabwe, Venezuela. Government comes in with price controls. It's all over because then nobody will make the product because they can't make profit. Again, this is a free market. If I can make this phone for $20 and sell it for $100, I do it. But if you're going to price fix me into saying, well, this phone, you can only sell it for $50 and my costs go up to $60, I don't make it because I'm going to lose money. So I don't want to lose money. So I don't make it. And that's the critical part of the inflation and the prices. So if you have government price controls, that doesn't listen to the market. You must listen to the market. The Keynesians try to do the government price controls. That's why gold's held down there. That's why oil is held down there, all the commodities. But when you have the market say, hey, I'm going to sell my ribs for $30, and the market says, thank you, we'll buy it for 30. And as long as the guy at the boneyard is making money, he's going to sell his ribs for $30. If you keep fucking around with increasing the money supply, and now his money's worth less, and now he needs to sell the ribs for $40, people are not going to make a fair trade with that. Again, I'm going to give you money for the ribs. I'm not going to give you $40 for the ribs, like I'm not giving you $35,000 for the Camry. And you see how it comes in. Again, back to the game, I'm telling you to buy gold. The gold protects you from all the increase in the money supply and the decrease in the purchasing power, because you can't increase supply of gold and you can't decrease the purchasing power of gold. It can't be done because it's very limited. Now, as long as there's demand for a product, you will have price. It's when you don't have demand, and when the demand stops, nobody wants it. And that's what's de-dollarization. People realize, the Russians, Chinese, Indians, that you've increased your money supply. They've also said, well, we don't want it because the purchasing power is so low, we're getting out of dollars. We don't want dollars. They're printed too much. They have no value. And as soon as that happens, this is worthless. Now, it was worth 11 cents in 1993. I don't think it's worth 1 cent, but we'll give it 1 cent. You go to Kroger's, you can buy things. The problem in the market is if they raise the prices where they should be, nobody will buy it. Well, the way a business works is you make something and you sell it. So if I make this and I got to sell it for $500 and nobody will buy it, I can't be in business because I can't make it cheaper, but I'm over the market. So now we get into a business. What will the market give me for this? And then what does it cost me? Can I make it for what the market will give me? And as they keep increasing the money supply, devaluing the purchasing power, which is not stopped, it keeps going down and down and down, which is what I warn everybody about. You're printing it. The purchasing power is gone. It's worth 1 cent, if it's even worth that, which I highly doubt. I think it's worth nothing. In other words, can I use the dollar to buy things? And it's becoming harder and harder. Things are losing. I went to a grocery store the other day, and everything's more expensive, which means the purchasing power of the dollar has been printed and printed and printed, has lost more and more value. They want $6 for blueberries, but they can't stay in business if they can't sell their goods. So if the money loses its value, what are you going to do? I can't sell it at that price. The market will not give me $8 for a pint of blueberries. So I'm fucked. So Farmer John's is fucked. I saw that at where I buy my meats. It was like I'm looking at the sale. Well, the blueberries $4.99. I'm like, what kind of sale is that? Then I go to the berry section, strawberries, and the avocados, $3 a pound. Like, I'm not buying any of that shit. It gets to the point where you're not going to buy it. They then cannot sell their inventory. They're going to go out of business. And that's what happens. Then you lose your job. And it's all because of this depression that we're about to go in. Then you have an idiot like Trump doing tariffs because he's too stupid to go on gold. And he goes on tariffs. And then the tariffs make the prices of blueberries go up even higher. Well, anything we import and anything we export gets too expensive. Nobody will buy our exports, and our imports are going to raise the price of, bubble gum and tuna fish and everything else. The price goes up, but we're the market. We can't afford or don't want to pay $10 for a can of tuna, so we don't. then the tuna place goes out of business because they can't sell their product because the market will only give them $4. You cannot force the market. We're there. That's it. This is all we're going to give you. We're only going to give you $30 for a slab of ribs. We're not going to give you 40. That's what I keep telling the guy at the rib place, and he's been a good boy keeping it at 30. Because I says, as soon as you raise it to 45, just close the door. Nobody will come because it's way too expensive. Because we got other bills that are going up, which aren't really going up. It's the money's fucked. And that's why I say buy the gold, buy the silver, because the money has decreased in purchasing power to zero. And that's what's always happened. And that's why you increase the supply. You need more money because the money's worthless. So you print more. That's Sauron or JP Morgan. He's printing more money. He needs to print it to pay for things. He prints it. It makes the money go down and down and down. But it's not prices, because the prices maybe don't go up because in the market they can't. I can't charge you $500 for this bottle that you paid $50 for. It's not going to sell. You have to know what the market's going to pay for it. And that was my pizza one the other day, where I'm talking about Jet's Pizza, $17 for a small with a couple of toppings. They'll be out of business soon. If I have stock in that, I'd be shorting it because they'll go out of business, because there's competition with Little Caesars at $6. And there's competition with me going to the grocery store to buy a New York strip. Instead of eating pizza, I can buy a New York strip for $13 instead of a fucking pizza for $17. That's what you've got to understand. Competition, free market, and I'm free to choose what I want. So I won't go to Jets. If I really want pizza, I go to Little Caesars, or I say fuck it and I'll buy a New York strip. Or like yesterday, I went and bought Chinese, which was like $19. So for another $2, I'm getting Chinese food, not a pizza. And now it's chicken and broccoli. It's a lot healthier. The only bad part was an egg roll, which is fine. It's Chinese. We always get egg rolls. Pedro, why are you based in Austria? I'm not based in Austria. Austrian economics was founded by an Austrian. It's also called classical economics. Either name. It's the type of economics. I'm in Michigan. I'm not in Austria. I've been to Vienna. It's a nice enough place. A little too close to Germany for my taste. It's funny, my girlfriend wanted to go to Germany. She has a friend in Berlin. And I says, I don't want to go anywhere near where Germany was, because I don't trust that it's safe, and I don't trust anything about it. I mean, you've been to 2 world wars, probably World War III, you'd probably be invited to that too. I don't like the culture. I certainly don't want to see the history of it. So I have a hard time. Austria, I've been to, is okay. Switzerland, I like. Went to Geneva, but it's more business, not really a vacation type of city. This was Geneva. So this is kind of what it looks like. You're on Lake Geneva, and you got these stores and everything, and you got trams. So you take a tram down to the water where all these stores and restaurants are. You walk around, you take your tram back. It's kind of small. We did take a train to the Swiss Alps to go skiing. It's a mountain like any other mountain, right? So no, I'm not in Austria, but I can be based anywhere. That's the beauty of the internet now. It doesn't matter where I'm based. I can teach this. As long as you have internet, you can watch it. But that's the theory of the game I just talked to you about, and more of the reasons why. It's a snowball going down the hill. They have to keep printing because prices are going up and there's not enough money to print. And so they have to do that. They have to keep printing. But what happens when you increase the money supply? You decrease the purchasing power. That's it. Now, do prices go up or down? That's depending on the market, not anything else. It does take more dollars to buy, but Coca-Cola is not going up in price because they can't sell it. I did see Pepsi at $3.69, at my meat grocery store, but it's an expensive grocery. I normally only buy the meat and the chicken there. And then Coke was still $2.99. Now, who the hell is going to buy Pepsi at $2.69? Nobody's buying it at $2.99, so I don't know who's going to do it. You give amazing master class. Always a real pleasure. Thank you, Pedro. I appreciate that. Tell your friends. Or you can be like the assistant professor, because you can explain this. And I try to make it easy enough that it not only does it make sense, but you can tell your family and friends what I'm teaching you, and it'll make sense. Although Bobby does have a problem telling his daughter what to do. But I think this, between my game and this, I think explains it very, very good. You need to have money, but the problem is when you don't have gold backing it, you have to keep printing more and more because it keeps making the value of the money go down. So in 1993, it was worth 11 cents. When 1971, it's worth $1. By 1993, it was worth 11 cents. It was worth, where is it? It's worth 11 cents. By 5/26/93, May 26th, it was worth 11 cents. From the $1 it was worth in 1971 when it was backed by gold. This is why you must back it by gold, because if you don't back it by gold, it loses its value, because in the scheme of things, you have to keep increasing the money supply. And all the evil Saurons and orcs and financial planners and your investment people, the stock guys, the banks, none of them even understand this well enough to explain it to you. All they're trying to do is make commission. So what they want you to do is take this, the money supply's increased, the purchasing power's gone down, put it in the stock market because you want to make money. But you don't want to make money. You want to make real money. You want to make Joe Montana rookie cards and Rolexes because they're real. And you want to turn it into gold, AKA Rumpelstiltskin, get it out of money into gold, because it's going to keep losing purchasing power. How does that ever stop? It can't stop. Inflation can never stop until you back your money by gold, some real asset. So Trump can tariff. So they say, well, tariffs going to raise inflation. How? At what point does tariffs raise inflation? Tariffs going to increase the general price level, but that's not inflation. The effect of the inflation is that you've printed more money, so it's lost value. But the tariffs are immaterial to that. They will rise prices, but that's not inflation. Now he's looking for a way to grow the economy to pay off the $36 trillion debt, because he knows he can't print. If he increases the money supply $36 trillion to pay off the debt, it's gone. It'll be worth nothing. And there goes your economy. And your only out is to come up with a gold and silver backed dollar, because you can't increase the supply of it, therefore losing the decrease in the purchasing power. So everything these guys say on these shows, it's a shake my head moment, because it's got nothing to do with anything. Gold's going up because you've got to get into real money. You've got to win the game, as I've described. And the only way to get out from the orcs is to buy gold and silver, because you can't increase the supply of it. That's the game. That's reality. That's the Matrix, Lord of the Rings, whatever you want to call it. You're sitting in money and you're fucked. Only you don't know you're fucked. Like I said, Luke's friend has $4 million. He thinks he's fine. We're this close to it being worth zero. It's only worth 11 cents in 1993 of the initial. That's why you have all these billionaires. They're holding basically monopoly money. It's been increased so much that the decrease in purchasing power is zero. Or it's been decreased, so the value is now worth zero. You've killed the purchasing power. There is no more purchasing power. But when we look at it, it's every fucking country. It's the euro, it's the Swiss franc, it's the British pound. Britain's going broke, Canada's broke, Japan's broke, the UK's broke, India's broke, Russia's broke. They're all broke because they're all in this. The only ones winning are the BRICS countries who are now backing it by gold and buying gold. So they're getting out of dollars to buy gold. Only alligator can get confused by that assumption. Well, they're not really buying gold, they're selling dollars. Okay, and then when they sell the dollars, what are they doing with it? Oh, they're buying gold. He's the strangest guy I've ever listened to. He doesn't know what he's out of his mind. I think he's delusional. Well, they're not buying gold, they're selling dollars. And they're buying gold with the dollars. So when I go buy gold at the store, what am I doing? Am I getting out of dollars? Well, yeah, but I'm buying gold with it. So I am buying gold. I'm using the bullshit dollar. Why is this such a hard concept for him to understand? Pedro, which university do you teach? I used to live in Canada ages ago, but now I am based in Australia. Oh, nice. Okay. Well, I used to teach. I never taught in a college. I did go to Walsh Business and Accounting College for my master's. This is where I learned all this Austrian economics. I just teach here basically. If I tried to teach at a college, they wouldn't allow me to teach Austrian economics. That's a no-no because Sauron doesn't want anybody to learn this. So he keeps it on the hush-hush. And if you'll hear a lot of people, they poo-poo it. Oh, it's Austrian economics. That doesn't work. We know that. And that's the big problem with it. So I teach here and I learned from my master's program. So I did get a master's in corporate finance and Austrian economics. I had 4 classes in it, which is all I had in finance. And then I had some in investment and 1 or 2 in computers. It was 12-class master. Loved it. Loved learning the Austrian economics. It's so real. And so many people are so stupid and biased by it. I think here's the problem with the Keynesians. They want the government to spend. They don't understand the correlation between increasing the money supply and decreasing the purchasing power. They don't get that. They think they can just print money. Oh, we'll print more money. We'll just keep printing. That's why I get off on this records guy and tell him he's an idiot because he is. He doesn't see the decrease in purchasing power. He said, well, we'll just keep printing. We can just keep printing. You can't keep printing. It's not the way it works. So this is the problem that most people do not understand. The Keynesians want the government to control prices. The Austrians want us. We control the market because we're the individuals. We're going to buy the steak or we're going to buy the pizza. We're going to buy something else. We're going to decide what we want. And you cannot do that. You cannot force people to decide. They're just going to, oh, let me see what Jet's Pizza is. Well, no, I don't like, it's too expensive. And I went and bought a New York strip. Okay. That's basically me doing that. That's me running the economy. And we all run the economy. And that's what we want. All these countries with Sauron and George Soros, that's probably where they got Sauron from, was George Soros, the evil person trying to increase the money supply because he thinks that's the way to help the economy when it just crushes it. And it's been over and over and over. All these countries keep going bankrupt because they keep printing it. You just had it in Sri Lanka, Brazil, Zimbabwe, Venezuela. Look at their problems. You've got it happening in the UK, Germany, France, Italy right now, Canada. They're all going bankrupt because they're all increasing their money supply to pay for things. And that's what happens when you try to give like social free healthcare. What do you mean free healthcare? Can't be free. Somebody has to pay the doctor and the nurse and the supplies and the hospital. Well, we'll just print the money to pay for it, or we'll tax the people who are making the money to pay for it. Well, it doesn't work. You've got to pay for everything yourself. What was I? There was like a situation where people were not Well, I think it's like COMEX, where you've got to really have a gold bar to run the derivative, but they don't have it. So they're only using 4% gold bar and 96% paper to do these derivatives. And that's bullshit. But I think in China, you actually have the gold bar. You have to have the gold bar to do an option or whatever they're doing there, but you actually need the physical. And that's the problem with COMEX. The you do not have the gold to sell it. How can you do that? How can you not have the gold to sell it? It's like me selling the Mahomes card without the Mahomes card. I can only sell one of these because I only have one. So it'd be like me selling two of these. Well, I only got one, and that's what an ETF is. They're trying to sell you 1 ounce of gold to 10,000 people. There's going to be 10,000 really pissed people when they think they have gold and they don't. And the price of an ETF is just bullshit. Sprout should go to jail. If Madoff went to jail, Sprout should go to jail. Rickard should go to jail. And of course, JP Morgan should be in jail without the key. So there's a lot of guys that are basically fucking up our economy. And we let them because I don't know, because they control the government, so it's the evil. It's sort of like France before the Miserables. Where if you watch one of these old French movies, like The Three Musketeers or something, they are the evil. What is it? The Pope or the religious guy is running it, and the king doesn't know what's going on, and that's basically what's going on here. Yeah, Robespierre, I think, was his name, and so you've got Jamie Dimon running things, and you got Soros running things, and Biden, Trump don't have a clue what's going on. You think Trump might, but Trump doesn't know how to run a business. He was given the buildings from his dad. He kept going bankrupt with his casino. He's the only guy that can go bankrupt with the casino, and that's what you have. So that's what you've got to understand. The game is basically they keep printing the money to try to stimulate the economy, to try to get it to grow so they can pay for the social programs. That's what caused the Great Depression. Basically, the tariffs raised the price, and then they kept printing money. Then they didn't let you have the gold, which would have saved you from all this. And they basically, I don't know if they were trying to control people or what in the 1930s, but you had a 15-year depression. It shouldn't have been 15 minutes. It shouldn't have done anything. You should have kept the gold, let the people keep the gold. The Tariff Act you should have killed and just let the free market run, which is why you let the free market. That's why you need Austrian economics. But when you had Keynes, he says, oh, the government's got to spend to get out of it. Well, they got to print money, which then kills the money. And the government spending, what are they going to spend it on? The public spends terribly. The private sector is what we buy. We don't buy the $17 pizza. The government buys a $30 pizza. And that's the difference. That's the problem. Three types of inflation. 1500 to 1600 was specie inflation. Gold inflation was the only time, and Michael Saylor will make a big deal out of it. It's because they pulled all their gold from Mexico, the Incas and the Aztecs, to Spain. So they had so much gold that I don't know that you'd really call it inflation. The supply increased so much. But that's not a bad thing. It's gold and silver. Government fiat inflation, the Chinese printed money, the France, the German, people closest to the government gets it first, and then the regular people don't get it. But the worst is the fiduciary money, bank credit inflation. It's the most serious. It causes the trade cycle. Who benefits and who gets hurt changes in each scenario. So everybody thinks the government prints the money. It is it is inflation when the government prints, but it's worse when the banks print it because the banks basically aren't even printing it. They're just giving you a house loan for $300,000 with money that is made up. So therefore, they're creating money, right? They're creating the money that is there, and that's the problem. Let's see. So the biggest problem of who gets hurt are welfare recipients, the unskilled labor, people who are last in line, people with no market power, can't increase income with increase in expenses, can't pass along increased cost to customers, which is what I keep telling you about the ribs. You can't pass that on. Fixed income, wealth people, people on pensions get fucked with inflation. Financial assets, claimant IOUs, senior citizens, people with bonds, CDs, annuities, they get hurt because it's fixed. But as the dollar loses value, they need more money. So you can go get a master's, you can earn more. Um, you can be like Bobby and play baseball and football, then you'll make a lot of money, or a singer or something. But generally, the general guy who went to school, got an undergrad's working, maybe accounting, maybe in on the floor putting parts on at GM, he's the guy getting hurt. He can't get a raise or substantial because the value of the dollar is going to drop and he needs more dollars, but he can't get it. That's where they're coming out with this AI and robots is, well, a lot of robots now, which is, I think, AI, where, oh, what do you do? Well, I put the tire on the car. Well, okay, we can have a robot do that. Well, he doesn't get sick. Yeah, but he does wear out. He will fuck up. Nothing's perfect, so you got to worry about that. Hey, Pat, it's all going down now. Well, what London did is basically just gave the money to the U.S. because they needed money, and the U.S. needs to pay off their derivative. So it's just moved. Where they got 400 tons from, I don't know, but it's not a lot. Not when China's got 80,000 and Russia's got 20,000 tons of gold. It doesn't mean anything. So I don't know. Tomorrow gold goes to over 2,900, gap up. Well, that would be nice. Well, it was 28.15 Friday, and then it finished at 27.98, 27.99 the last 5 minutes. Who the fuck's doing a derivative then? I don't know. London is empty. Well, so is the U.S. How long is the 400 tons going to last? It's either going to China and Russia, or it's going to go pay off COMEX. I mean, it's not going to be there for long. That's the only thing. So we obviously, why would London give it to us? Because they needed money. And so they sold the one asset, which is the whole theory I keep telling you about, is that the stock market and the housing market and the banks are going to crash because as the whole world needs money, they're coming to where's their assets? It's in Amazon and Apple, and it's I got it in the U.S. bank, and I've got it in real estate, and you're going to sell your assets because you need money, and if you're smart enough, you'll sell your asset for the gold. As I explained in my game, if you listen to the first half hour, I created a game. And the way out of the game, to win the game, you had to know to get out of money and buy gold. And you find the professor has to tell you this. You have to find the professor. That's kind of the game because most people have to find me to realize what the fuck's going on. Stock markets will nosedive this week. You think this week? Interesting. So why do you think gold goes to 2,900 this week? Is it something they have to pay up now, and the U.S. to buy gold to cover their derivatives? So is this the week that is there a specific time? But yeah, that'd be great. I'm all for that. This is why I've been yelling at everybody to buy gold 3 years ago for this moment, because you're not going to be able to afford it at 3,000. I mean, you can a little you'll be buying quarter ounces, but there comes a point you really can't afford it anymore. And so you have to move to silver. Silver's not ready to move yet because of COMEX. They won't release it. I was listening to some guy who said, well, they need it for the military and they need it for these uses, solar panels and stuff. Bullshit. The price goes up because it's limited and the price goes up. You can't hold the price down. You can't say, well, we need a low price for the military and for the solar panels. They couldn't hold gold. They can't hold silver. So you know what? You put copper in the missiles and you put copper in the solar panels because solar, you can't keep silver down because you want to use it for that. That's not going to work because if I have it, why the fuck would I keep the price down? I'd start raising my price. So it's up to the military complex and the solar people to buy the silver, which is what Russia and China and India are doing. They're buying it now at these cheap prices for their solar panels and military and whatever else. Anyway, we know it's all worthless. Everything will chase the metals. Gold will go up parabolically because the cat is out of the bag. Panic is here. Is that how you see it in Singapore? Here, people are too stupid to realize anything's going on, which we understand. If you get a chance, watch my game I created. It's very clever. Basically, everybody's telling you to stay in paper, and then you find the professor, and I tell you to get into gold and silver, and that's the way to win the game because everybody's going to lose the game when they keep in dollars and it goes to zero. You're fucked, and everybody's going to be fucked because they'll be in dollars and not in gold. So anyway, I've been telling that at least 3 or 4 years to get into gold. It was 1,700, and now it's up to 2,800. So we're all made 1,100 an ounce, and we bought a lot. That's why my credit cards are high because I bought gold with them, figuring, well, I'll if I have to, I'll sell an ounce of gold to pay a credit card because I know it's going to be worth a lot more than I paid 1,700 for it. Now I can sell it for 2,800, 2,900 and pay off a big chunk of the credit card, but I wanted to get the gold. That was a no-brainer. Inflationary expectations. People think it will happen and want to protect themselves. Inflation premium figured an interest rate, as I've explained. Cost of living, COLA in wages. Builders will factor in inflation premiums with long-term projects to cover inflationary price increases in the wood and the bricks and all the stuff they use to build a house. Increased prices based on expected future prices. Inflation expectations. Inflation expectations are far worse than the actual expectations. That's when the panic hits, as you just said. The panic is here. There was one thing I read that I gotta. So there was initially 1913, the central bank. From 1830 to 1861, there was free banking. All banks printed money, promised to pay with gold. This is how it was when we became a great country. Very little inflation, but you had the banks competing, so they couldn't inflate. 1862 to 1913, national banking system suspended gold operations. Only national banks can print money backed by gold or government bonds. So I'm a little confused by notes. Suspend gold operations. Maybe that means something else. But only national banks could print, but banks, not one. And then from 1913, the present Federal Reserve, only the Fed can print money. Central bank, a monopoly on printing money, the only one. And when you get to a monopoly, that's what JP Morgan is. That's when we all get fucked. And thank you, JP Morgan, for fucking everybody so you can make a few dollars. And then we've got the start of the second test. So next class, we'll go through my history again. The Romans, the mercantilists, era of regulation, era of entitlement, Roman era. I love the Roman era. Um, Inflation expectation means the currency is zero purchasing power and shortages. Well, no, the expectation of the currency means they think the currency will be zero, and they realize they have to get out of the currency and into gold and silver. They need it's the Titanic, the boat's sinking, but at first they don't think the boat can sink. It's the Titanic, it's unsinkable. And then when it's 90% in the water and it registers to the people that the boat's going to sink, they go to the lifeboat, and but everybody's panicking going to the lifeboat, and that's where we're at right now. So it's the expectation that the dollar will have no value, which is what I keep showing you. And this is why this is what a dollar's worth now is 1 cent. And it's not even worth that, I doubt. The currency is zero purchasing power and shortages. It's that I won't be able to buy anything. So I'm going to go to the grocery store and buy 100 cans of tuna and cereal. I just did that with Daria in Russia. She said they're going to raise prices. So I gave her an extra bit of money and said, go buy things that will store soup and tuna and canned goods and cereals and popcorn, whatever you can store and put in your freezer, buy it now, because we know where the train's headed and it's going to be worthless. And then I assured her I had gold and we will share the gold, and that will not lose its purchasing power, which is why you buy the gold. And it's amazing how everybody just looks at you and doesn't get that. How can the dollar lose its value? Because they're printing it. I just read that. It loses, you print the dollar, it kills the purchasing power, and then prices go up is really irrelevant because they can only go up with what the market will bear. If you raise your price to $10 for a Coke and it doesn't sell, you can't raise your price. But the money is printed and the value of the money has dropped. But you're not necessarily going to be able to raise the price to cover your losses, and that's why people go out of business, and that's what causes a depression. And you better come out with gold-backed currency or the U.S. is fucked. And that's what I keep getting to the point of. Yeah, well, that's because everything chases the metal because there's no other lifeboat. See, I do have a method to my madness, but that's the point. What are you going to get into? You only have one option. That's gold and silver. That's it. You don't have any other option. Bitcoin is not an option. Bitcoin's not real. So if you run into Bitcoin, it's going to cost you $105,000 to buy one Bitcoin. And Bitcoin's not going to go up. It's going to go to zero because you're going to need money and you're going to sell your Bitcoin to get into gold. At the end of the day, everybody's going to have to get into gold or Rolexes or Mantle cards or Tom Brady cards. That's your only, this will keep its value. The Mahomes card will keep its value. It won't go down, especially if he wins next week. It'll go up again. But Rolexes won't lose their value because there's very low supply and high demand. Mantle cards, you can't print anymore because these are 1960 cards. So the supply is already gone. And if it's a high graded card, there's very limited of those. And it's Mantle, so the demand's there. That's why you buy the superstars. There's always demand. Gold will go parabolic because the cat is out of the bag. Panics here. Yep. Inflation expectations. Yeah, we covered that. The metals market will be completely sold out this week already. Well, COMEX doesn't have much gold and silver. If they are taking it from London, that 400 tons is gone. I mean, it's gone to China and Russia already. And so there goes COMEX, and we already have now new pricing. We have a Shanghai Metals Exchange, a Moscow Metals Exchange, and Dubai is coming out with the Metals Exchange, where they're going to price physical commodities, wheat, corn, gold, silver, frozen orange juice, everything in trading places. They are going to come out with those because because they own all the metals, they want to be able to price the metals. And this way their value goes up. Why we're keeping the price down instead of buying it, shows how stupid. That's what JP Morgan, he wants the monopoly of the money, but he doesn't realize that by keep printing it, it has no value. They don't understand that part of the game. So they keep printing it. Don't go into gold and silver. We'll make money off you on stocks. Yet if you listen to Bloomberg, nobody gets it. Nobody understands that. Everybody, they have all these CEOs on, and they're all, we're going to make a lot of profit this year. Every one of them is going to make $1 million this year. Everybody's a billionaire, and they don't realize 1 billion times zero is zero, including my favorite Warren Buffett, who everybody thinks is so smart, doesn't have a fucking brain in his head. Inflation expectation means the currency is zero, purchasing power and shortages. The metals market will completely sell out this way, okay? LCS will be wiped out this month for sure. What's LCS? Is that London Exchange? I'm not familiar with that. But yeah, I mean, it's gone. I mean, we keep printing money to pay for our debt, $36 trillion, which you can't pay back. And Trump doesn't understand. It's gone. You got a month or two left. You don't have time to do tariffs and raise costs. How that's going to benefit anything, I have no idea. They don't understand. The sand's running out. You better go find the professor. You'll love my game that I did. LCS is local coin shop. My coin shop they have gold because people come in and sell it. So here people need money, right? The retirees, their costs are going up. They need rent or grocery store. They're going on a trip. So they sell their gold because they see it at, it's 2,800. Oh, look, it's at an all-time high. I'm going to sell it. It's an all-time paper high. It's not an all-time high. And so they go and sell it. And that's what I buy. And I'm not going to, maybe I buy a quarter ounce this week. I'll buy another ounce the following week. I get Social Security and another full paycheck. That's what I'll use to buy. I could take some money out of my safe to buy that. I don't know what to do with my credit cards because I don't think they'll be around much longer. I think the banks will collapse and then I won't owe anything because how do I pay Chase when Chase isn't there anymore? Or how do I pay in dollars when the dollar isn't there anymore? So I'm not really sure what to do with my credit cards. Like I said, I bought a lot of gold with it because I wanted to get the gold cheaper. And I kept going to Alabama for a job and coming back and then all these. So hopefully it'll be better. But you cannot have your head in the sand. You have to find a professor in the game who will tell you the only way to win the game is to have gold and silver. You've got to get out of paper, which includes Bitcoin. So the guy had bitched at me that he could have been in Bitcoin and it's now worth 100,000. What he's missing is big deal. You got to get out of that. You have to buy into gold. So if you're listening to me and you didn't buy Bitcoin, you bought gold and silver, give me credit for that because that's going to go. That'll be 100,000. It won't actually because by then the dollar will be gone and gold will be buying you. I keep telling Luke, you're going to buy a nice house with 2 ounces of gold. You'll be buying a nice house because the value of the houses will drop. They've been dropping. They will drop because there's no demand. It's just like there's no more demand for the dollar. So everybody's getting in bricks, getting out of the dollar, buying gold. There's no demand for the houses because they're too expensive. Nobody has all that money and interest to buy a house. So with no demand, the price of the houses keep dropping. I show you those videos where the housing prices are dropping. And that's because of demand. It's the way the free market works. If there's demand, the price goes up if it's limited supply. However, if there's no demand, no matter what it is, if I can't get demand, if nobody wants my Mahomes card, it's worthless. And that's what happened with Barry Bonds. Since he did steroids and he didn't make the Hall of Fame, the value of his dropped. Now there's still a little value. There's only a fucking 100 of these. And yet this is not worth what it should be because the demand of Barry Bonds is slow because he didn't make the Hall of Fame because he did steroids. Mahomes, I don't know. Does he do steroids? Who knows? He wins Super Bowls. And that's what I warned Nick about with Joe Burrow. We love Joe Burrow, and we know he's a great quarterback. But until he wins Super Bowls, he'll be Dan Marino, who was a great quarterback, didn't win a Super Bowl, and his cards don't have much value either. So you've got to really, if you just want the guy because you like him, yeah, go buy Joe Burrow. But if you really want because of what Mahomes is doing, you buy Mahomes. That's why you buy Mantle. I tell you to buy Mantle and Mays, and I don't tell you to buy even Al Kaline didn't do much. His really Detroit, not New York, and that makes a big difference. Time is running out for sure. I think it's imminent any day now. I think they'll try to hold on as long as they can. The question is, what is Trump? What's his end game? Is it a gold-backed currency? Because if it isn't, it's going to be worthless. CBDCs won't work if they're not backed by gold. It's just digital money, which nobody wants. They can try to control you, but you're not going to use it. How are they going to control you? Well, you can't go to the grocery store today. Oh, fuck you. I need to eat. I'm going to the grocery store. You're not stop me. They're not going to get rid of dollars because the mafia wants dollars so people can buy their drugs and their sex and everything else is bought with money because nobody wants anybody to know what they're doing. So if it's on a CBDC, how do I explain buying the drugs or the girls? You can't, you got to put something. I don't know how the CBDs will work, but nobody wants it. Nobody wants to be controlled. So I don't see them even happening. And I don't think JP Morgan will want to lose printing the dollar. Now he's got to come out with a different dollar and they got to stop printing, but JP Morgan runs the government. Don't lose fact of that. But at my store, it's the people coming and selling their gold that I'm buying. And that'll keep happening because as everything goes, but people don't realize, the thing that people don't realize, including Jenna, is gold's going to go way up. And they don't realize that. Well, it doesn't go up that much. I have paper money. And I keep rolling my eyes with Jenna going, but I'm not going to sell gold at 2,500 when it's going to be 25,000. You've got to be out of your mind. I know that's what's going to happen. And, she's really, I want to say disrespectful not to trust that I know what I'm doing and that it's going to be much more expensive. I'm buying it because I know it's going to go up and I don't want to be in dollars, but we got to wait and let it go and we'll be fine. We'll be buying an island. And she doesn't want to wait, and it's like, well, fuck you. I'm waiting. This is not the time to sell. This is the time to keep buying. So the only thing is I don't like he doesn't have many quarter and half ounces. I think he sells them somewhere. He's saying, well, people aren't bringing them in. And I'm thinking, well, maybe they're not. Maybe the older people bought ounces of gold, not quarter and halves. But there is another store that sells quarters. So I might go there this Thursday when I get my paycheck. Because this check I got last week goes to rent and a credit card. Next week, it should be fine. And I'll get my Social Security. But anyway, I think that's about it. I don't want to go too long. That's why I did a separate sports one. Because when I'm looking at YouTube, now it depends who I'm looking at. If I see 2 or 3 hours, I don't have time for this because I want to watch the whole thing. So I'm normally thinking what I would do. And I'd say, well, if it's an hour, if I know who it is, if it's Egon or Mark McGuire, I'll watch it. And it goes pretty quickly, but I don't want to do 2 and 3 hour shows just for people who don't know me, aren't going to watch it. It's too long. So I'm trying to hit the right spot. But this one's a beautiful one. Anyway, you're right, Pat. That's why we buy gold and silver. I think silver, uh, it can't hold on much longer, but it's still going to sit in the 30s for us. And don't be disappointed. All I can say is if it's it went to 3180 and started going back down, and it's just like, fuck it, I'm going to buy more. I know they use it in military and in solar panels, but I don't care because you can't hold the price down because you need to make it for military and that. You can't. It's the market that's controlling the price. So eventually, with Russia and China, they're going to want silver to buy more, to do more. That's why Putin's buying silver. He wants to buy it before the price explodes. So I think that's going to go. Right now, gold's going to go. And when it gets too high, just hurry into silver and buy what you can. Now, fortunately, when I go to my store, he always seems to have silver, and fine with me. And so I know I can at least buy some of that. But the difference is I got so much silver. I really would rather buy more gold than silver, right? Because every time it goes up 100, I want to get 100 ounces of silver, so I make $10,000 every time it goes up 100. With silver, I got a lot of ounces, but it doesn't go anywhere. It goes up 20 cents, 50 cents. You're not really making what you are making in gold. So I really want to kind of stay away from silver. I'd rather keep the money that I would buy 20 ounces of silver with and buy a quarter ounce of gold with it. Or at the end, save a few paychecks and buy an ounce and a quarter of gold, which is what I'll do in a week. Anyway, I am off to swim. Now, yesterday there was a swim meet, but it got over early. And it was like, I went on the bike and I'm going in the hot tub. And I can't use the pool. I can't use my lap where I can run in 5 feet of water. And I saw some lady in there who was obviously not in the swim meet, and it was open. So at about 3:15, I was, or maybe 3:30, I was in my pool. So today I figure if I wait a little bit longer, the swim meet will end, and I'll be able to use that lane, which is critical for me because the rest of the pool is 3 feet deep, and then there's a little bit of 3.5, but I want the 5 feet. I want it up to here, otherwise it hurts my back. So I tend to go into the lap lane that's 5 feet. So hopefully that'll be open when I go. So I'm off for that. And that's about it. It's, Pat hits the nail on the head. Pedro understands. You will, if you haven't watched my beginning where I get into the game, watch it. It explains it beautifully. It's a perfect explanation. You're welcome, Pat. Thank you. I agree with you. I mean, we've been waiting for that. We know it's going to happen, Pat. We don't know when it's going to happen, but we know it's going to happen. We don't know what's going to trigger it. I think with Biden, they were holding it. Now with Trump, they're not. They want it to go so they can blame Trump for this mess. Trump's too stupid. He brings in a George Soros guy. There's not a lot he can do. It's sort of like the real Titanic. They see the iceberg too late, but they really can't move the ship quick enough to avoid the iceberg. And I think that's the problem here. They can't move the ship quick enough to avoid the iceberg. We're gonna crash and we're gonna sink. And your only option is gold. And I'm prepared that, will my job still be there in a month? I don't know. Mine is international, so maybe. Daria wants to come here now. It's funny. Initially, she wanted to move here. Then she said, well, no, I'll move to Russia. Okay, as long as I'm with you. And I don't mind Putin. I think he's at least a leader. And then now she said, well, I want to come here. And I'm like, I don't know. Not that I don't want you here, but I don't know. We're not going to have an economy. We're not going to have money. I don't know about that, but we'll see. We'll see how the shit hits out. But I don't know really where a safe place is. Maybe Russia's safer than anywhere because with Putin and their military, but they're still in a war, so I don't know. And I don't speak Chinese. Anyway, have a good day. Off to the pool, 2:30. Buy as much gold. And when you can't afford it, buy as much silver. It'll all go to the moon. And as I explained it very eloquently, they have to keep printing, which keeps making the value drop. It's got nothing to do with prices. That is not inflation. It just takes more money to buy the Coca-Cola as the money gets devalued. That's really what's going on. So keep an eye on that. Anyway, www.teaserking.com. If you want to email me, you get my email there. So if I'm not on, I can still respond, like what's going on with the gold. But I hope pass right with 2,900 tomorrow. That'll be great. London's empty, but so is the U.S. and so is Canada. They are empty also. There is no in your Fort Knox. That's the U.S.'s. There might be gold. It's China's, and there might be gold in the Federal Reserve in New York, but that's probably Saudi Arabia's and India's, and it's not the U.S.'s. We don't have any gold. Even though we got in 400 tons, it's probably right back out to pay for derivatives on COMEX. JP Morgan stepped on more than he can chew, or as I've been calling him, Sauron. So have a good day. Watch that first 30, 35, 40 minutes of the video. You'll be like blown away as I was. And I just created it yesterday. All right, everybody. Have a good day and good luck. Kansas City to win a close one, and off we go. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good day. Enjoy.